Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are director, producer Brenda Lee Law, and author Dana Precious. Writer, producer, director Brenda Lee Law was born and raised in Wisconsin. Graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh and went on to be a radio announcer, a disc jockey. She worked in TV at the NBC affiliate in Milwaukee, and then she moved to Los Angeles to work at King World. What brought you to King World?
Oh, just, chasing the Hollywood dream.
Was that it?
Pretty much, and it was really a fun time because I came out and we started working on Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy! And at that time, we brought a new show to syndication, and I was part of the team that helped launch Oprah Winfrey.
Is that right? Did they have the idea of getting Oprah?
The King brothers did. She was, on, was it WGN in Chicago? She had a local,
she was in Chicago, right?
Her local morning show, and then they decided to syndicate it nationally.
And what did you have to do with it? I mean, other than working there?
Well, what we did is I worked in the marketing department, and we wrote and produced the, on-air promos and, those type of elements that, brought attention to her program.
Did you take the promos from work that she had done, or did she have to come in and be set up for those things?
We used some of her older shows that she had done in Chicago, and then we did some original shoots as well.
We're going to talk about your film Deadbeat, which is an award-winning film that you directed yourself. Did you write it too?
I was a co-writer, yes.
She wrote it. But let's talk about this marketing thing that you were doing. You started at King World.
Yes.
But you came from Wisconsin as an announcer and as an on-camera person, right?
Yes.
So how did you shift gears?
Well, I did in Milwaukee. I did do some production work as well, where I did some directing and producing, and nuts to bolts, sets, everything.
Knowing everything about it.
Knowing everything, and then wanted to move to the larger market and see what I could accomplish here.
And let's talk about the market. What is the market, and why do all these films and TV shows need a marketing thing?
Otherwise, no one knows about them.
But don't they just turn on the TV and see shows?
Well, some people do, but we try to build anticipation and get people to tune into an event. Build it up into an event so we get a mass audience. And
what makes your marketing strategy or whatever it is successful? How do you know it's a success?
By the people who tune in. By getting some really good numbers and getting a large audience.
And tell us what numbers are. I mean, this is pretty...
it's definitely changed over the years.
Esoteric stuff. You talk about, I came to the market and I need the numbers, but a lot of people don't understand what that is.
Right. Well, it's all based on, how they sell their advertising time, and I don't have those figures exactly.
Well, we don't need the figures, but it has to do with advertising.
It's all about money and making money. It's the business part of it.
And so, how do you read the numbers? Who reads those numbers?
Oh, there's many experts who, basically our sales department and our research department. They interpret the numbers, and they're the ones who deal with our advertisers. And
then, when you come in, how do they know if you've done a good job?
Well, by the number of people who watched. We do a lot of test marketing on our product before it even hits the air.
And how do you do that?
We have a whole department that goes out and takes a diverse cross section of the people we're trying to market to, and they hold these test seminars, and they play
They play the show? They play the program?
They play both the program. They also play, the marketing materials we've created.
And that's advertising, really,
Right,
right?
right. They're called on-air promos usually for what we do in trailers.
Uh-huh.
And they go ahead and they, show them to people and they get rated and they discuss it and, what pops for a person, what they find appealing about, what they've seen, and would it be something that they'd actually tune in to watch by seeing that promo.
And the promo is just portions of a show that you want to promote?
Basically, there's different ways. Sometimes we do original shoots.
Which is you write the whole thing?
We write and we direct and put the promo together. And other times we take the completed show and we view it and we screen and we select the best sound bites and then select music and write copy, have graphics designed.
And then with those graphics, are those the things that we see on buses and on billboards?
That's our whole print department.
It's a different one?
It's different, but it's all under marketing, and we try and keep the, look cohesive across the entire campaign. So it's all interrelated.
So do you work with print?
We work with print, we work with radio, we work with on-air, we work with graphics, we work with music companies, everyone.
So that was part of the King World thing that you did. And you were still in Oshkosh working when you came to LA. You still had a toe over there, right?
No. After I graduated, I moved into the Milwaukee market.
Oh, I see.
And that's when I worked at the NBC affiliate.
I see.
And from there, I moved here.
And then how did you pick King World?
Well, it kind of picked me. We actually, at the NBC affiliate that I worked with in Milwaukee, we carried 2 of their programs. So I had a connection, and the station manager introduced me to King World. And there happened to be an opening. And
oh, so that's how it worked. Okay. Part of this marketing that we were talking about is called the sweeps, right?
There are 4 sweeps periods, yes.
Okay, tell us about that, because we always hear about the sweeps. What is that?
Well, that's the time when they really do a push and try to get numbers for the show, and everyone watches, and that's what they base, I think, what they sell the programs for. So
you have to have a really good campaign for the sweeps, is that it? Or does the show carry itself, or what?
Well, the shows rev up their storylines, and even if you look at local news, you'll see that, the way they hype, that's when you'll see the more, what should I say, maybe entertainment type of stories in the news and stuff like that. That's what I'm wondering,
yeah. You went to UCLA to a writer's program,
I was in the writer's program.
Did that help with your marketing job?
I think they all work together, because as marketers and in the area that I work, I'm a storyteller.
Yeah,
we
that's
tell
what
stories,
I mean. So,
I have to tell a story in 60 seconds or less, and now as a filmmaker, I get the luxury of more time.
But more time is not very much. Let's talk about Deadbeat, because it's a short film.
It's a short film.
How long is it?
It's 16 and a half minutes.
It's very short, but I guess longer compared to your 1 minute story.
Than I usually get, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how did you write it? What was the subject matter?
Well, the subject matter, it's about a distraught mom who's searching for her runaway teenage daughter, who she learns is with her deadbeat dad, who's a member of the Triad. And it's a American-Chinese thriller, and no one is who you really think they are.
And the Triad?
The Triad is the Chinese mafia.
Why was it a short film? Why didn't you make a full-length film? Because you had all the material, right? And you had a great cast.
Money, mainly. Money and time.
And what does a short film do? Is this like a prelude to something bigger?
Well, we do have a TV series and a feature film that goes with this.
Oh, you do?
It's basically a calling card, and it's also, we are getting a lot of attention. We've won 1 film festival already in Vegas.
I know, you've really done well.
And we're in 6 more as of right now.
Do you get invited to the festivals, or do you apply?
You apply, and then you're selected. And
is there certain festivals just for short films?
Most of the film festivals have a shorts program.
I see.
Actually, one that we're in at the end of March is the 35th Cleveland International, and that's an Oscar qualifying festival.
Is that right? Oh, so then that could put you into the category to be nominated?
Exactly. But you have to win the festival, in order for that to happen.
Oh, so that's how they do it. Because the Oscars now have a shorts
program, yes. And there's probably, don't quote me, it's probably 20 or 30 different festivals throughout the world that are Oscar qualifiers. There might even be a few more than that.
I see. So once you get the festival going, you have to keep having it go, right? And for the whole year so that people will notice it?
Right. Basically, a lot of distributors, producers, different people attend the different festivals looking for product and new talent. And so that's really why you want to be involved in festivals.
Oh, I see. And then could this work into a TV series? Is that what you said? How could that happen?
Well, I have to sell it. And
that's what you're good at doing?
That's what I'm trying to do, yes.
I see.
And we have a team that's working on it, and we have some interest as far as the short goes, even distributing that.
And then if it goes into, where do they play a short? With another independent film or with a major?
At the festivals?
No, in a theater. Do you ever see shorts in a theater?
Well, some theaters have shorts programs, and the channels like IFC and Sundance.
Oh, they play them.
They play them, and especially internationally, they play them much more than we do here in the U.S.
Do they? Shorts are very more important to them?
Yes, they are.
I see. So do you go to Europe for these festivals?
I'm hoping to.
Wow. Who did the music and who did the costuming? Tell us a little more about your production.
Well, Adam Davis was my producer, who's just fabulous. He's done a number of films. My husband was the executive producer, and he's also one of our actors.
Oh, he is?
He's Chinese, and he was born and raised in Hong Kong.
Oh, that's great.
And so the story itself is kind of about my own family. I'm married to a Chinese man. We have a Hapa son, half Asian, Caucasian.
Oh, right.
And that's also one of the focuses of the film. And that's in Jennifer Sunbell plays Cricket, who's a Hapa.
Oh, she is too.
And
is that an old word, Hapa?
It's a Hawaiian term.
It is.
Yes, but it's becoming more and more popular in mainstream.
I see.
And I think the term used to be Eurasian or something like that, and
yes.
now it's Hapa.
Oh, that's what it is now instead. I see.
Yes, and we had Francois Chow as one of our leads, who plays Ning Wu, who is the deadbeat father.
He's the bad guy, huh?
Well, yes, he seems to be the bad guy.
How did you do those action scenes? I mean, it looks so professional. I mean, it looks like a big studio film, is what I think I'm trying to say.
We really got a lot of bang for our buck, and I just had a fabulous crew. My director of photography, Bruce Allen Green, is just phenomenal, and his team, they brought everything they had and worked so hard.
So it does look like big studio, doesn't it, to you?
And
all the effects?
All the people that are involved are people working in the industry, definitely.
So after you finish promoting this, are you going back to TV, or are you going to stay in film?
I will do wherever my life leads me.
Oh, you better tell us what that path is.
Both. I love doing both. If you see, most people do both these days.
Thanks, Brenda.
Well, thank you. Pleasure meeting you.
And we'll be right back with author Dana Precious. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm with author Dana Precious, who was born and raised in Michigan, graduated from Michigan State, and she worked in marketing at Sony and Fox, and now she's the head of worldwide marketing for Marvel Studios. Marvel?
Marvel.
Oh, Marvel, I said it right.
Right, Marvel Studios. They created Iron Man and Iron Man 2 and the upcoming Thor and Captain America.
And tell us what your responsibility as a worldwide marketer is. And is it for film or TV? Or?
It's for film. It's for theatrical. And let's see, my responsibility ranges from it's basically herding large numbers of people in any specific direction and hoping they'll go in the right direction.
Herding them? Is that what you said?
It's a
not hurting.
Herding. Yes, exactly.
Herd.
Well, it depends on what the situation is. If I'm hurting them, hurting them.
But how do you herd big pieces? We were talking about it earlier with another person who's in marketing, with Brenda Lee.
Yeah, Brenda. I know Brenda.
Brenda Lee Law. And she did a lot of marketing. But you do marketing too.
Well, Marvel is releasing, films through Paramount Pictures, so I interact with the marketing department at Paramount Pictures.
I see.
Everyone from the publicity department to international, theatrical, to creative advertising, research media. So it's basically keeping your finger on all of the different lines of business within the marketing department.
And how do you find a focus?
A lot of it is through experience. There's a lot of experience, many years of experience between Paramount. Believe me, they know how to market a picture. And,
so they know
myself.
what to just hit?
Well, you got with almost every film, because I've been doing this a long time. With almost every film, they all have their own unique voice, and it's a little bit of hit and miss. You have to kind of, it's some trial and error to try and figure out what is the thing that resonates with an audience.
And how do you know where the error is?
Well, some of it's through research testing. Some of it is through, screening it for focus groups or audiences. Some of it is, did some kind of publicity thing work, not work? How did it resonate online?
And if it's an error, can you correct it? Do you have time to correct it
Yeah.
and make something else?
Well, sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. It depends on how quickly you learn your error.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
And does it damage the film?
Fortunately, none of the films I've worked on have been damaged that way, I'm happy to say. But yeah, it can certainly damage the film if you're going down the wrong strategic pathway.
Because sometimes you say, like, some actor will go, oh, they just had the wrong campaign for that. I mean, so do you ever work with the actor?
Yeah.
Or the writer? Oh, you do?
Not really the writer so much in marketing, but with the actor, you do interact with the actor in terms of, the photo shoots for the one sheets, posters, or, if there's a special shoot for a trailer.
Because they have to be in it too, although they've already made the film.
Well, sometimes there's a special shoot, where we do something unique for a teaser trailer or something like that. So.
And do the trailers go in the movie theaters?
Yes.
Or they go online? They go
both.
everywhere?
Yes, they go everywhere. Yeah.
And while you're doing this, how could you write your book, Born Under a Lucky Moon? And it sounds kind of Asian.
It's not intended to, because I'm not Asian, as you might notice. The book takes place in Michigan and also here in Los Angeles. And Born Under a Lucky Moon is a reference in the book to this kind of crazy night when the lead character, Jeannie, is born. And a lucky moon lights the way to the hospital so her parents can actually find the way through the snow.
Oh, the lucky moon does. Who is Jeannie? Is Jeannie you?
Jeannie's a lot. There's a lot of me and Jeannie.
Is this a biography?
No. It's fiction. I would say a lot of it is based on events that did occur in my life, and I draw from things that have happened in my life. A good portion of this book takes place in Michigan, where I grew up. I am the youngest of 5 kids, which Jeannie's the youngest of 5 kids. And it's about this kind of wonderfully wacky, crazy family that does things that are outside of the norm. And they do it with the best of intentions, and everything always goes wrong.
So tell me, who is Jeannie?
Jeannie is the main character in the book, Born Under a Lucky Moon, and a lot of it's based on me and the events that have happened in my life.
So you are Jeannie, the
Fictionalized,
youngest.
yeah.
The youngest.
Yes, Jeannie is the youngest of 5 kids in her family, much as I'm the youngest of 5 kids in my family.
Right.
And it's really about this kind of wonderfully wacky family that does these crazy things, really with the best of intentions for each other, but it always turns out wrong. And that is pretty much the way I grew up. It's like everyone loved each other and was trying hard to help each other, but inevitably it backfired.
Well, one of those scenes was this wedding Was that true or not true?
Well, there's plenty of people in my hometown that would remember this, so I can say yes, it was true.
Tell us about that wedding. A double wedding?
Well, there was 2 weddings. There was a long-planned wedding for one of my siblings on Saturday.
Right.
And then on Sunday, my mom got in her head it'd be a great idea to throw a surprise wedding for another one of my siblings and her boyfriend that she brought home for various reasons. My mom thought that she should do this. And unfortunately, the bride and groom didn't know a thing about it until they got home. And at that point, it was a little too late to back out. So, well, they could have backed out, but they didn't. So.
But why would you fictionalize this when it's so real? Everything's so real.
Well, first of all, so my family wouldn't kill me, and I could still go home for Christmas.
Right, okay.
And second of all, you know, my whole life I've kind of taken events that have happened and compressed them into certain time periods. Or one of my sisters calls me the biggest exaggerator in the whole world, because if it wasn't good enough of a story, I'd figure out how to make it even funnier and better.
Sounds like my husband.
See? So you know, there's a great portion of it that is fictionalized.
Fictionalized, yes, and maybe that's
or just
where
fiction, yeah.
Or maybe that's where you uncover these secrets, because you're always uncovering secrets or letting us know as a reader about these secrets.
That's true.
Yeah, so how did you do that?
Well, you know, one thing, maybe people who have, I don't even know, maybe this probably happens in small families too. Someone will have one portion of the story in a family and somebody else will have the other portion of the story. Right. And nobody wants to let mom and dad know what's really going on. And so it's this whole, and how kind of in a very funny way, how this affects everybody else's lives.
So those, you have to find the secret from each person that they've been keeping from one another.
Exactly.
Or from the parents.
Right.
Or
even from themselves.
Or how did you research those? Because there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of fact. And it seems like we have memory losses about what went on in our families and with our
You know what's crazy?
kids.
It's like I cannot tell you what I did yesterday, but for some reason I have this astounding memory.
About what you did as a child?
Yeah,
or?
and up through it. The lead character in the book she's 19 years old when she's in Michigan.
Yeah, how can you remember all that?
I don't know. I just...
So that's why maybe fiction, it was easier for you to make some of it up.
Yeah, because a good part of it is fiction. And you know, there's the other part of the book that takes place in Hollywood, where Jeannie has moved to Los Angeles and she's a film marketing executive, and the nuttiness that surrounds that.
That's what we started this interview with,
right.
Your marketing.
Now that whole part of it's fictionalized, because I still would like to work in this town again.
Okay. All right, you can work here. But that was part of what was going on, I guess, the way you started, and the reason you knew so much about the inside of the business.
Yeah, you know, specifically marketing a film. How crazy, nutty requests will come in all the time from agents and or directors or talent, and how funny that truly is, because you think really like
one thing, like one example,
in the book, and all of this again is fictionalized, is being on a photo shoot that's costing $250,000, and the star won't come out of her trailer because we don't have a specific water from Belgium.
I remember, this is the best part.
And
this part, I read this part. This was great. And so go on.
Well, so then it's all about the lead, Jeannie trying to figure out how to persuade this talent to come out of her trailer, because she can't get the water from Belgium because she would have had to go to Belgium to get it.
Because she only has like 5 minutes, right?
Right, she only has 5 minutes. And in the meantime, her iPhone's going off, her BlackBerry's going off. She's got, the studio calling her and other filmmakers calling her. And it's literally like, I used to call it mental gymnastics, like trying to jump from one thing to another to another to another to solve problems,
But maybe that's what you've done. You've had to do that in the past.
Jeannie's an extraordinarily competent person at marketing.
Hello, Dana.
You'll talk to other people and see what they think about it.
But you have to learn, and that's what you were saying. You've been in the business a long time, so you have to learn. But you also have to know how to improvise.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you had to know how to make the label for that bottle.
Right, in your book.
Which
Jeannie
I thought was
actually
great.
fakes out the talent by taking the one bottle of water that had the one label on it and scanning it and just pasting it on regular tap water.
Right, so that's great. And there was one other incident about a funny thing at a hotel.
Oh, there was, the crazy couple who's gotten together, and one's named Jeff and one's named Stephanie, so all the press calls them Jeffany, and they completely trash a hotel at the Four Seasons and set it on fire.
Of course.
And this all occurs while Jeannie's trying to put out her own fires in her personal life and also in her work life when she's her job's kind of going down the drain.
Fantastic. Very quickly, what was the physical process of writing this book?
Every Saturday morning, I would go to the Novel Cafe in Santa Monica, and I would sit there for 3 hours, and I would write.
That's fantastic. I've heard somebody else did.
Oh, you're
Somebody else came from Palos Verdes, and she used to go there and write.
It's my favorite place to write, and it took me actually several years to write it. I suppose if I'd been doing it as a full-time job, it would have taken me about 6 months.
But on a computer?
Yeah.
Or by hand?
I've written other books by hand. I actually find something very tactile about writing it by hand, but most of this was written on computer.
And before we leave, what happened with your family and friends? Are they okay with this?
Well, I'll tell you something. My mom, this came out about a month ago, and my mom wouldn't go to church for about 3 weeks because she said, "Oh, good Lord, Dana, everyone's just going to be talking about this family." But it turns out that almost everyone in my hometown of North Muskegon, not everyone, but it's about a town of about 1,200 people. So many of them are reading it that now my mom gets great delight in going to the grocery store and people are asking her about the book. So.
My daughter, the author.
I know, my daughter, the author.
Yeah.
So I'm really pleased that it seems like the people in Michigan feel like they were well represented.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Keep writing to JAQUINN1@AOL.com and 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles, 90017 if you want to send me something. See you next time.